marching in the rain conceals the sound of our arrival, but is also a test of stamina.
Oh my god, I can't believe my eyes.
How can she lift that massive rock all by herself? She's got to be one of those adepti, surely.
Oh, mighty Adeptus, please give me your blessing so that in...
This is top tier in size and quality, and the condition it's in is quite simply immaculate. I'm going to award you full marks for the Sunset Vermilionite item. May I take...
My name isn't important. I'm not even here to compete. I was just delivering this for some other people. They should be here any minute now.
Shenhua! And Ningguang's little helper!
Ah, so you're the ones behind this. No wonder. The rarest talent turns in the rarest... But I have to correct you on one point. It's not helper, it's secretary.
Okay then, Miss Secretary. What do you think of the rock we found?
In truth, it is the finest piece of plustrite we have received so far. If everything goes according to plan, we will use this piece in the foundation of the Jade Chamber, which will enable us to proceed to the next stage of construction. As a side note, Lady Ningguang has rented some dwellings in the nearby area to serve as accommodations for the contestants. If you need a place to rest, you are... Now, please excuse me. As you can see, there is still a lot of work to do on the buildings.
Shenhua! Shenhua! Just now on the way over, pretty much everyone was singing your praises!
Oh, really?
What kind of reaction is that? So strange. Aren't you... Whenever Paimon gets praised, Paimon can't help but hold their head up high.
I've had similar compliments before. They call me an Adeptus, treat me with great deference and respect, as if I'm set apart from the common.
Yeah, 'cause that's how Adepti are. At least the ones we've met are pretty unique and reclusive, too.
But I am not...
Shenhua?
I'm fine. I've been exerting myself quite a lot ever since we set foot in that abode.
Well, Byron said that there are some makeshift hotels we can use, right? Let's go check in and take a rest.
No need. I simply need to find myself...
You can't do that. It's dangerous out in the wild. When you're hungry, you go eat something tasty. And when you're tired, you go lie down in a nice, comfy...
Okay. If you...
Great! Now we're talking. Let's head to our hotel.
Hi there. Checking in, are we? You're just in time. We only have 2 rooms left. Since this was chosen as the building site for the new Jade Chamber, we've had a constant stream of people in this area. So business is booming for me today. Very few vacancies. You're lucky you got here when you did.
Great!
One of your rooms is still being cleaned. I guess it should be ready within the hour. The other room is just through the door on the left. Here are your keys. All right. Hope you enjoy your stay.
Shenhua, you should go get some rest. We'll hang around outside until the other room's ready. Paimon's gonna go see if there's anything good to eat around here. Let's buy one for Shenhua, too. She can have it as a midnight snack. Or save it for breakfast tomorrow.
All right. I will head to my room for now. If you need anything, don't hesitate to disturb me. I'm a light sleeper. I will hear if you knock on the door. See you...
Hey! Isn't that Cloud Retainer? Let's go and say hi.
One trusts you have met Shen-He. So, are you getting along quite
So far, so good. Yeah. So,
naturally? Save for Ganyu, who spends the majority of her time in Liyue Harbor. All the Adepti living today are acquainted with Shen-He to some degree.
cool. So, what's her Adeptus name anyway? Calling her Shenhua feels kind of friendly, but also kind of disrespectful. So,
Her Adeptus name? Why, pray tell, would Shen-He have an Adeptus name?
don't all Adepti have a special title they go by?
On this latter point, you are correct. However, Shen-He is human.
Oh, right. Wait, what? What? You knew already? So is Paimon the only one who didn't?
Do you mean to say that she presents differently from ordinary human?
Well, to start with, her problem-solving methods are...
Ah, yes. She was like this all those years ago when one first met her. One first found Shen-He by chance in a cave. One was passing by and sensed the presence of a god's remains. Being of an ever-vigilant disposition, inside was Shen-He, then aged around 6 years old. In her hand, she held a dagger with which she was confronting a monster that was the god's remains and...
That sounds so dangerous.
When one arrived, she had already been locked in confrontation with this monster for several days. Most mortal children are fragile, both physically and mentally, and that she was able to endure such terrible danger was due not only to her strong willpower, but also to the bloodlust and homicidal instinct with which she was born. One dealt with the monster, yet she still refused to lower her guard. She even pointed her dagger in one's direction and remained ready to strike. Only...
In other words, if you hadn't passed by that day, Shenhua might have...
Not necessarily. Upon one's arrival, one could sense that the god's wrath was gradually receding. Even had the stalemate continued, one suspects that Shen-He may have still emerged the victor of the conflict.
That's still so dangerous, though. Why was a tiny little kid battling against the wrath of a god in the first place?
Alas, the mortal world is rife with suffering of every kind, and she had experienced her fair share of this, even at a tender age. Indeed, it is one to whom she refers. Shen-He has an extraordinary constitution, making her well adapted to practicing the Adepti arts. However, her homicidal urges did not subside with age. Rather, they grew stronger day by day. Mooncarver once performed a divination for her. He declared that her fate is to bear the curse of calamity. Consumed by malevolent energy, she is prone to bring harm to those around her. The red ropes have indeed served to keep her calmer and more content. They also seem to have rendered her somewhat inexpressive. Perhaps the red ropes are so powerful that... It is only by fate that people's paths may cross. Now that Shen-He's path has crossed with yours, please be sure to treasure the gift that fate has given you.
Oh, now Paimon gets it. You came out here to check up on Shenhua because...
Huh. You dare draw such a facile conclusion on the nature of one's present excursion? Incorrect. The truth is that while Liyue Harbor may seem peaceful, Ningguang once made a bold assertion that this is to be the era of the contract between Liyue and the humans. If she handles it admirably, one is willing to be a witness to her achievements. Let us conclude our conversation here for today. One has occupied enough of your time, and night is approaching.
So, Shenhua isn't an Adeptus after all. She just grew up around... Hey! So, Shenhua...
Master has relayed my situation to you, I take.
Oh? How did you know?
I'd intended to wait until you came back before going to sleep, but I didn't hear you come in. I was worried that something may have happened to you, so I went outside to check and caught sight of my master. On top of this, you have been acting very strangely around me this morning, causing me to suspect that my master must... After all, Master is... very talkative.
Sorry, Shenhua.
It's okay. I don't mind. The fault is mine for not explaining everything to you sooner, because in my experience, trying to explain is a futile pursuit. Still, though you mistook me for an Adeptus, you never treated me as distant and unapproachable. For this, I am very grateful indeed.
To be fair, we've met our fair share of real Adepti, too. Anyway, now it's settled. From now on, you're our friend. Whether you're an Adeptus or a human isn't the important thing.
Got it. Although I don't know quite what it entails in terms of what I have to do.
Great! Well, now that we're all rested up, we should start searching for the other 2 items on... But before we do that, let's go to the building site and ask Ningguang's little help. After all, Sunset Vermilionite is so rare. Paimon doubts many competitors will really be able to find any. Oh, and another thing. We bought some grilled chicken drumsticks on the way back last night. There was a place just outside. Here's one for you, Shenhua. Try it! They're so good.
I concur. It has a rich flavor, far more agreeable than those I've cooked for myself in the wilderness in the past.
Look! The Jade Chamber is floating into the sky! But it seems to be tied down by something.
That's because it's not finished.
Hey, Bywin! And hey, Beidou! And hey, person Paimon doesn't know?
Given the enormous scale of the Jade Chamber, we split the construction work into 2 phases to make sure the structure remains balanced. Before we find some suitable plastrite, we build the Jade Chamber's keel at ground level. Once the plastrite is ready, we place it into the keel and let the partially constructed Jade Chamber rise up to the height of the surrounding mountain peaks. The remainder of the construction work is then carried out at that altitude. Once everything is ready, we release the iron tethers and allow the Jade Chamber to rise to its target altitude.
Miss Bywin, we've brought some new materials to submit.
One moment, I'll be right there. The construction work has only been able to progress this rapidly thanks to the plastrite provided by you. Lady Ningguang is most grateful and looks forward to seeing more of your work.
Wow, can't believe you sourced the plastrite so quickly. It's the key piece of the puzzle.
Beidou, you're joining the Jade Chamber contest too?
Sure am. I happened to get my hands on a chunk of Sunset Vermilionite on a voyage a while back, so...
Huh. So even though it's rare, we're not the only ones who managed to get a hold of it.
Oh, I've got some introductions to do. This is the renowned Miss Yun, or Yunjin, probably the most famous figure in the Liyue opera scene.
Greetings.
These 2 are Paimon and the Traveler, both good buddies of mine. And this is... sorry, not sure we've met.
Shenhua. I am their... friend.
Good to meet you. A friend of a friend is my friend too. Or, as I like to say, a mate of a crewmate is... Miss Yun is also here for the contest. Turns out she needed to borrow a boat, so we came together.
It's an honor to finally meet you both. I've heard much about you. Miss Shenhe, though we are only meeting for the first time, I have a feeling that we will get along very... To be honest with you all, I am in great need of this opportunity to ask Lady Ningguang a question.
Wow. So it looks like the 3 of us are...
Excuse me for prying, Miss Shenhe, but Are you competing as well?
No, I don't have any questions for Ningguang. I just wanted to help him win.
In that case, I have a proposal to make. Lady Ningguang said that the first 3 contestants to procure all 3 materials will be awarded the chance to ask a question. Well, instead of competing against each other, we could work together to secure the—
Sounds great, but how does that change things exactly?
I think I see where you're going with this, Miss. The plastrite was the most difficult item to source by a long shot. Luckily, all 3 of us managed to get our hands on it. How'd I do? Is that what you had in mind?
Precisely.
Huh. Interesting approach.
Okay then. All right, I'll go first. I have some leads on these wonder cores. From what I've heard, the core itself is really not that difficult to make. The hard part is getting hold of the ore used as raw materials.
We will head into town and seek advice from Master Zhang of Hanfeng's Ironmongers.
Wonderful. We'll split into teams then, and whoever makes progress first brings all of us a step. I'm gonna take off. See you later.
Okay, let's go! By the way, what question are you gonna ask Ningguang, Yunjin?
I'm looking for a venue to host the performance of our new opera. Lady Ningguang has excellent judgment, so I would like to hear her opinion.
Ooh, what's the opera called? Paimon wants to go see it.
The opera is a labor of love by my father. He wrote it based on a popular urban legend about an evil spirit and an adeptus. It's called The Divine Damsel of Devastation.
Ah, hello. Are you here for something off the shelf, or do you need something forged?
Excuse me, Master Zhang. We were wondering if you'd heard of something called—
Of course I have. Sorry.
My name is Yunjin. Perhaps you don't know me, but I believe that you forged some weaponry for my father in the past.
Yunjin? Stage use? Oh, so you must be Miss Yoon. Sorry. My brain's finally caught up. It's not used to doing much beyond bashing a hammer all day. So, you're here to ask about wonder cores, huh? As it happens, I do know how to make them. Matter of fact, I made some for Lady Ningguang back when— The types of ore needed to make wonder cores are a little hard to come by. Lady Ningguang supplied them herself last time.
No, we were gonna ask you what kinds of ore.
Sure. Well, you'll need 2 kinds. Star Splinter Iron and Subrosium. If I remember correctly, Lady Ningguang sourced her Star Splinter Iron from the Mount Tianheng area. It could take some work, but if you stick with it, you'll find some eventually. I'm really not sure. Sorry. Of course, it's probably just hearsay. If you want my advice, start by looking for Star Splinter Iron around Mount Tianheng. And if you—
Mount Tianheng.
Interestingly enough, the story of the Divine Damsel of Devastation, I hear the view there is quite spectacular. A favorite, perhaps it can give me some inspiration. Let's not delay. We should head straight there. I came to Mount Tianheng once with my father as a child. I remember it being such a long climb that I could barely feel my legs by the time we reached the— This is quite a trip down memory lane for me. Look at these majestic, towering peaks. No wonder the legend of the Divine Damsel of Devastation is said to have taken place here.
The Divine Damsel of Devastation is your upcoming opera, right? And then what's the story about, though?
It's the story of a girl becoming a hero.
Cool. A hero story?
The legend first arose in this area. It is said that there used to be a prosperous village on the mountain. In that village, there was a loving couple who were completely devoted to one another. One day, a terrifying monster appeared. The wife was out collecting herbs and was captured by the monster. Her husband was so distraught at the news that it broke his spirit. The vile and vicious monster told the villagers, "If you want to live, you must—"
What a nasty piece of work! Ugh. Paimon sure hopes this monster gets put—
But the monster was so terrible and so strong that all within the village were terrified of it. Just while they were discussing whose child would be given over to the monster, a little girl suddenly stood up and—
No! Don't do it, little—
Unbeknownst to anybody else, she was concealing an exorcist's blade. She approached the monster's lair, feigning fear and trepidation. When she finally arrived, she courageously drew her sword. Her extraordinary abilities drew the attention of the Adepti, and they took her as one of their own. Her story became the stuff of legends, and so, destined to grace the mortal realm for but a brief moment, she vanished like a wisp of smoke into thin air. That's how—
I really like this story, but I personally think that perhaps the little girl was... I'm not sure she deserves all the praise she is given.
I've never considered that before. Opera is always an interpretation of the events it purports to portray. A certain degree of deviation from the truth is— When my father wrote the script for this play, I suppose his intention was to inspire his audience.
I think it's a great story. The idea—
Well, it sure inspired Paimon! Let's go get ourselves some Star Splinter Iron! This should be enough Star Splinter Iron. Now we just need to find that Subrosium.
I think I saw a village on our way here. Master Zhang said we should ask the locals for help. Why don't we try there?
Hey, there really is someone here. Yunjin, looks like you were right. Excuse us, sir. Can we ask you something? Huh. He didn't seem to catch that.
Hello, sir. We were just passing by and wanted to ask if you happen to know anything about
Is he trying to tell us to look for clues in the village? Well, whatever. Shenhua, Yunjin, let's have a look around.
Sorry, you can go ahead without me. I'd like to have a word with this gentleman. If that's okay with you, Uncle Mingjin.
It's...
Shenhe.
Shenhe.